Hi, I'm Hayley Victoria, and I've got a special guest today on Cop Chat. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Paul Mabbutt. I'm currently a senior lecturer at university. Uh, Basically, I'm a module leader for the PCDA program, and also I teach across on the professional policing degree. I formerly was a police officer with Thames Valley Police, having served several years with them. So particularly on response, was my main area of policing.
Thank you. Response is
Yeah.
something that we get asked a lot about because a lot of our viewers are people who are currently training to be police officers, and it's obviously quite exciting for a lot of people to see from the outside. How would you describe working on response as a
Working on
job?
response.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're quite right, Hayley. It's a fast-moving, dynamic sort of role, definitely. Um, and from that point of view, it's really good. I mean, what they say is true. Every day is different. Even from sort of job to job, it can be going from something quite different. You could be going to, let's say, let's be honest, you could be going to a very serious RTC 1 minute, then you might leave there and go to, let's say, a missing person report, which is something quite different, a different form of investigation. But response in itself, whilst yes, there is blues and twos, and that's the bit you see on TV, and that's the exciting bit. Just remember that in any policing where an offence has been committed, there's always a victim. So it's important to bear that in mind, and that policing puts victims first, and so we must always be mindful of that. There is a victim. Yes, we want to catch the bad guys, of course we do, guys, girls, whatever. We want to catch the offenders, of course we do, but the victim has to come first. Response is, you say, it is very varied. There's lots of things you go to, um, and but you'll be prepared for that. You'll get your initial training. These days, I'm involved with the BCDA courses quite a bit, and I'm in regular contact with our partnership force and also the students themselves, both throughout the whole of their 3 years. And for example, just yesterday, I was talking to the third year PCDAs. They all said to me, almost without fail, I don't know where the last 3 years has gone, Paul. It's just flown by, and it really does. Not only is response fast moving, but you'll find that when you blend that with PCDA, it still flies by. It's really quick. Um, but response is where everybody starts. You kind of cut your teeth there, even if you want to later go into investigation and be a DC, for example. It's always good to have had that exposure initially to frontline policing, and that's where all of my career was, in frontline policing. You've got opportunities later to go into specialize into, let's say, into dog handling, for example, or to firearms, or to there's lots of different things you do into training. You could become a DC and concentrate more on investigation. There's the National Investigators exam, which will take you down that route, and then you do further training on interviewing, level two interviewing. So it is very varied. There's lots of opportunities, and it can be a career for life. 35 years, and you come out with a, whilst most people at the age of 18, 19 won't be thinking about their pension, I'm now at that stage. And trust me, it's well worth thinking about early on. And generally, policing will give you a good retirement pension. So from start to finish, in a nutshell, that's quite a lot about response policing. Anything specific you'd like to know, Hayley?
Well, up here in South Yorkshire, I don't live in South Yorkshire anymore, but where I was, all of our new recruits have to be PSU trained.
Yeah,
So they have to pass a certain fitness test up here. It's 6.3.
yeah.
Is that the same for where you are in the world?
Yes, it is. It's pretty much a national standard. I was kind of quite shocked to learn yesterday that in actual fact the standard entry route, I think it's 5.4, is being lowered,
I can't believe
which
that. Yeah, I
me
can't
neither.
believe that.
But yeah, because I thought it was pretty low as it was, but there you go. Yeah, PSU is, I would encourage anybody who's interested in that to do it. It does involve a slightly higher level of fitness, which even that, in fact, doesn't reflect what you're going to be doing in PSU. Did you say it was 6.3? I can't remember now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
6.3.
6.3. Which you can train for. It's a bleep test. It's perfectly achievable, and I've done actually higher than that. But for PSU, when you actually get trained in PSU, you'll be wearing a lot of kit. You might think you wear a lot of kit as a standard response officer with your boots, your baton, your cuffs, your standard body armor, that kind of thing. But you'll be wearing that on top of a load more stuff when you're PSU. You'll be wearing a lot more body armor all over, which in itself isn't too bad, but it can be a little bit restrictive. You'll also be wearing some quite heavy boots for a good reason, because they're going to protect your feet when heavy stuff gets thrown at you. You'll be wearing a NATO helmet. You'll be carrying a much longer baton, and in addition to that, you'll be carrying quite a heavy shield as well, and you'll be running up and down, which you're not carrying all that stuff when you're doing your bleep test. So yeah, it does require a high level of fitness, definitely, but I could thoroughly recommend it. It's a different form of policing, because in response you could be single crewed, you might be double crewed initially. With PSU, you are working as a team, definitely. You take instructions together as a team. There's different tactics, the way you deal with public disorder and violent disorder. Sadly, we see it in the media from time to time, but the training, I can honestly say, is second to none. You will train, it might sound shocking, but you will train with heavy stuff being thrown at you. You will train with glass bottles filled with flammable liquid, which are lit and thrown at you. It sounds horrific. It's actually okay, because your kit works. If you follow the training and you do things correctly, you'll be fine. I can honestly vouch for that. You will train to take down barricades which are burning, set fire to with flammable liquid, and you learn how to deal with that. The clothing you wear is flame proof, so that's not a problem. Even when a bottle explodes in front of you, you're told how to shield yourself. The training does work, and when you're under pressure, it really kicks in. So I can reassure anybody who wants to do it, have a go.
Yeah.
There is, because you're working as a team, there's obviously the camaraderie side of it, and when you're going to jobs as well, there's always banter in police, and it's slightly different banter when you're out on PSU, but it's great fun, and from that respect. And also, ever since the London riots, something called mutual aid has been incorporated into policing with PSU. So where something kicks off as a major incident in one city, if they're in need of support, then PSU units from other forces may be drafted in to assist. And I've been part of mutual aid for various operations in my former career. I can think of mutual aid down to Kent Police for I've forgotten what it's called now, when we were going through Brexit, and all that was going on. They needed extra officers down there, so we went down to assist. And then in 2021, there was the climate conference up in Glasgow, COP26 up in Glasgow. So I was pleased to be able to go up there. I also became a PSU driver. So there's different tactics which you use for driving at speed with other bands in order to get you to where you're going if safely and efficiently. So yeah, all in all, it's an extension to your regular response policing, but it's a great opportunity if that's something that interests you.
Brilliant, thank you. So you do two things now, don't you? So obviously you are a lecturer.
Yeah,
So are you senior lecturer now at where you
I'm a
work?
senior lecturer.
Yeah, very posh.
Yeah,
But you've also got this practical application of skills that you can bring to contextualize stuff in your lessons.
yeah.
How do you think that helps with the new recruits having that practical experience?
Yeah, for me, I call myself a practical academic, or if you shorten that, pracademic, which
Yeah, yeah.
for some reason sounds humorous. I don't know why. So no, I find it useful because I can draw on, my own experience. We could be talking about any sort of subject, and you'd be surprised what you retain even years later about jobs that you've been to. So yeah, I find it certainly adds value to my course, and certainly the students that I come into contact with, both PCDA students and also full-time policing students. I think that helps, as you quite rightly say, to contextualise what we're talking about. This isn't just the theory. Actually, this is what we do in practice, and this is how the two things work together. So yeah, there's no question that it helps. And also, I'm the sort of lecturer that will, I don't sort of cut any ice, to use an expression. At the end of the day, policing is a serious profession,
Mhm.
and as police officers, you will be exposed to things that many people never see in a lifetime. And those things are very often not things you would normally want to see or would wish on anybody. So we have to deal with that. There are serious offences that happen, there are tragedies that happen, and more often than not, the police will be the first to get there and to be dealing with it. So we have to go into that detail, as you might expect. So it kind of balances out, really. Yes, we make this courses fun and interesting. Of course, we do, and engaging, and put it into context. But the context also has to include the not so nice stuff. At the end of the day, that's what the police have to deal with. But
Yeah.
yeah, overall, I think it's a positive having that policing experience.
It's good, I think, as well, like it is a serious job. You see some really horrible things, but there is support available, isn't there?
Absolutely.
So there's Trim, obviously, still,
Yeah, yeah,
and Occy
yeah.
Health are fantastic, especially, well, they're great for us. I don't know what it's like where you are, but our Occy Health team are pretty good.
Yeah, no, excellent. Yeah, very much so. I mean, on the PCDA course, every 3 months, every officer gets an interview, and with both somebody from the university and also somebody from the police. It's what we call a tripartite meeting. So there's three of us, and it can be online or it could be face to face. It just depends. And within that meeting, we cover various things. So we cover how's the student progressing, are they meeting all the requirements of the apprenticeship, but also importantly, as you said, Haley, we talk about welfare, and safeguarding, and that's personal safeguarding as well. And we make sure that, if the students got any concerns, that they come to us, that they contact the relevant people. There's lots of support available always, and that continues throughout the 3 years, because at the end of the day, policing is demanding. The course is fairly intense anyway, and you combine the two things. That's a lot for anybody to take on board. At the end of the day, we all have lives outside of our professions, and we all have, hopefully a home life and a social life. But and all those things can impact on one another. So it's important to have that fallback. It hasn't always been there, sort of Trim and well-being, but certainly of recent years, I'm pleased to say it's come to the forefront, and there's a lot of support out there for officers. And I positively reinforce that in these meetings with officers, because we want to be brave and say, yeah, I can deal with it, and you might be able to, but um, when you see certain things, you're exposed to certain shocking scenes, that can very often manifest itself and not reappear straight away. It could be
Yes.
sometime later,
Yeah.
So, and I say to everyone, look, it's no shame whatsoever. We're all human. Nobody wants to be exposed to that. But if we are, then and it does affect us in some way, it's no weakness. It's because that's what can happen. And but we need the support then to be able to deal with it, and not to be afraid to come forward. There is that support there. You just need to ask.
Thank you.
That's
We
okay.
do get asked a lot. I say I get asked a lot, how to apply to be a police officer. Up here, you do it through the South Yorkshire Police website,
Yeah.
and there's lots of different ways there. Is it any different where you are, or do you think it's the same nationally?
Well, there's various routes into policing now, as you probably know, Haley. So the PCDA route means that you actually apply to become a police officer, and you'll be paid as a police officer while you're studying for a degree, and the degree will be funded by a combination of the force and also the apprenticeship scheme, the government funding scheme. Um, if you want to say do a policing degree full time, you can do that. You can apply like any other degree to come on a policing degree, and you will cover all the things that you cover as a police trainee on PCDA. You may also have the option to specialize in certain subject areas. You could specialize more on the criminal investigation. We have two routes on the courses I'm involved with. So you can stick with professional policing, or you can go into the investigation route and specialize more in that area. But then at the end of your 3 years as a full-time student, you then can apply to the police to join, and they'll recognise some of your prior learning on the full-time course when you join. You also got the degree holder entry route. So if you already have a degree, whether it's in policing or in another subject, certain forces will recruit you that way. And you'll also come to university. Again, you'll be paid salary from the police. Your course will be funded by the police, and you'll do the degree holder entry route. And you'll have a compressed 2-year course because you're already a degree holder. So it's expected you have certain academic ability already. You know, do a compressed course in policing as well as your police training. They're all in quite intensive courses. The full-time course is less so. You have more time for academic study, reflection, and so on. And additionally, now there's a fourth route into policing which came into effect this year, the police constable entry route, or entry program, PCEP, which means that you can join the police. You won't be coming to university, but you'll be doing 2 years of study at an equivalent level to, I believe it's level 5 in year 2. So whilst you won't have any recognition or accreditation for any academic work, you will receive your police training up to that level, but within the police force that you've applied to. Yeah, so there's a few options there for you. Anybody who's got prior experience, such as a police special or as a police constable, a police community support officer, PCSO, or even somebody who's perhaps had policing experience a number of years ago. When you approach the police, and when you approach ourselves, we consider something called recognised prior learning, right? Recognised prior experience in learning, or RPEL. And that means that possibly some of the training you've already done won't need to be repeated.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's the various routes. Also, I mean, at the university I'm at, and universities up and down the country, there's open days run throughout the year. It's not just once a year; it's throughout the year quite often. If anybody's interested, they're welcome to come along to those open days and talk to us. You don't necessarily have to apply for a course, but come along and have a chat with us. You know, find out about the course. You can find out a certain amount on the websites, of course, but there's nothing like coming along actually speaking to people.
Yeah.
I don't think anyway. So by all means do that. You know, and I encourage people that whatever university they want to go to study at, to be happy with that place that you want to study in. You're going to be there for a few years, so it needs to be comfortable for you. And same with the police force. You know, you may not want to work with your local police force. You may want to work with another one. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities out there.
Oh, thank you. Okay, last question from me.
Okay.
If you've got any advice for someone who's going through the training process right now, what would that be?
Any advice? Okay. Well, if it's PCDA, my advice is, okay, so you're going to be busy. You are going to be busy. I mean, your first 26 weeks of training is busy with the police anyway. And when you intersperse that with your university work as well, there's a lot to do. We make no secret of that, and we're conscious that we're throwing a lot at students. But at the same time, we try and give students enough time to complete their assessments within university time. and not have to go away and worry about them. But equally, the door's always open. We're always contactable by email, and because of things like Teams these days, setting up a Teams call is so easy. We can do that face to face. We don't want anybody to struggle. And if they are coming up against barriers, contact us. We can sort it out. We don't. It is going to be demanding. I make no secret about that. So if it's something that you find is going to be too intense, that's you're probably not ready for it at this stage. But we recognise that there is the support there. I would just say for a young person particularly, and our new cohort, who I've been talking to the last few days, probably largely the age range 18 to mid 20s, I guess.
Yeah.
There's sometimes people with more life experience that join us as well, but largely it's the younger age group. So just bear in mind that you're starting out in a career, and that I look at it as like an investment. So for the first 3 years, you're really investing in a career that could last 35 years. So it's a good investment to make. At the end of the day, you will come out with a degree that's been funded. You're not coming out with any debt to pay for that degree later. You're coming out with a degree that's been funded. You're getting professional training in policing, and then there's lots of opportunities to specialise. So at an early age, it's a great career to go into.
Yeah, I agree completely. Thank you.
Sorry, I would just qualify that and say,
Yeah.
just to completely go to the other end of the extreme, I didn't join at an early age. I joined at a much later stage. In fact, I joined because my younger daughter said, "Dad, would you come along with me to an open evening at the local police station?" Yeah, fine. So I went along, and basically from that evening, I ended up joining as a special constable, and my daughter did something completely different. She later became a call handler with the police, so it wasn't totally in vain. But that started my career. Something we haven't actually spoken about is special constabulary. But I know you've spoken with Craig and people like that about the special, so that's also a good route. If you're not sure whether you want to go into policing or not, the specials is a great route to find out. You can dip your toe, you can get exposed to everything immediately and have the same powers that you would have as a regular police officer by doing that. Equally, if I'm not repeating myself too much, if you're not sure, and a lot of people that come on our full-time course are slightly undecided whether they want to join policing or go into another part of the criminal justice system, come on the course, do the course. You'll get all the same training you would have got anyway. And if you decide that policing is not for you, or investigation is not for you, there's other things you can go into. It could be private investigation, it could be fraud investigation in banking or financial institutions. There's lots of opportunities to go into. So come and talk to us if you're not sure.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's it. Anything else from you, or are you happy?
Hopefully I haven't bored everyone to death. I'm sure there's lots I could go on and talk about, lots of war stories, but I wouldn't dream of boring you with that. So I hope anyone listening has found it interesting. And I pop up quite frequently on LinkedIn. So if anybody wanted to contact me, I'm quite happy to contact you on LinkedIn.